Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is Jess, and I am a transformational life coach. I specialize in inner alchemy and energy mastery. In today's video, I will be teaching you how to trust yourself. I've realized that we live in a world where we are lacking so much trust in others. I used to be like that. I used to have so much distrust, and I have a very powerful Scorpio energy in my chart. So in my past, all I did was distrust people. I was waiting for people to stab my back, to betray me. And I felt like I could never trust anyone. Like I always needed to be on my toes. What if, right? What if someone tries to do me dirty? What if someone tries to play me or hurt me? I need to protect myself. I need to always be on top. This was coming from a place of me not trusting my own self. And because I didn't know myself, I didn't ever know that I could trust myself. My only reference that I had was growing up. And growing up, I lived in an environment that I could not trust. My father being an addict, an alcoholic, always lying, and there was no trust. So this is what I grew up in, instability. And I lived in an environment where no one could be trusted and no one trusted one another. So this is what I took on and how I developed in relationships to the world. And it wasn't until I began to enter a relationship with myself, to stop seeking outside of myself, and for the first time know who I am on a soul level. And it was in that time when I began to understand why I had so much distrust in this world, why I manifested the relationships and friendships and in intimate relationships and family relationships, why I was always let down, or why I felt let down and betrayed. And that was coming from my own self, because I didn't know how to trust myself. I didn't know what boundaries were. I didn't know how to discern right from wrong, for whatever that means for me, right? What is my right and what is my wrong? What feels good and what doesn't feel good? I didn't know that I had a choice. So because I grew up not knowing this, I allowed things to happen to me, thinking they were out of my control and thinking that it was because I couldn't trust the world. But when I took my power back and I realized that I had a choice, and it was going to come from me trusting myself, trusting in my word, trusting in my actions, trusting in my choices, trusting in my being, then no one could ever hurt me. No one could ever lie to me. No one could deceive me. And what I first started to do to gain that trust was to be impeccable with my word. I began to commit to myself little by little. It was all about those micro goals, setting the small things in place that later on built up for me. So I committed every single day to show up at the gym so I would not be tempted by friends and associates to go out and get high. And for me, that was realistic, because it's also important for you to make a realistic commitment to something. Because when we are healing from trust issues, if we set big goals or we commit to something bigger than what is real, we're going to actually become disillusioned because they are unrealistic goals. So it is important to start off with something very simple, but to commit to it, because that way you are going to begin to gain trust in your own word, knowing that when you say something, When you say that you will do something, you will get it done. And that is why it's important to start off first with small things. For example, going on a 30-minute walk every single day, or reading for 30 minutes every single day, or doing something that is a positive habit, but committing to it every single day. Because as time goes, this increments, and then this becomes part of your daily routine. And then you can stack up on that. You can stack up another positive habit on top of that habit. And this is what continues to grow that momentum. Number 2, what I began to do was gain more self-awareness. I began to become aware of my thoughts and what I was focusing my energy on. Because when I was not focusing my energy in the best ways, this is when I was susceptible to being deceived or to pouring my energy into things that were not beneficial for me, or pouring my energy into relationships that were actually detrimental for me. But when I began to reflect on myself and gain more awareness of myself, I began to realize how I was wasting so much precious energy on things that were not serving me. And that allowed me to have more trust in myself, because it allowed me to see that I genuinely care about myself. And if I am going in a direction that is not favorable for me, I will be able to catch myself through self-awareness and guide myself back on the path that is in highest alignment for myself. Because it is important to bring yourself back to the present moment. And number 3 is to know your energy. It's very important for us to know who we are, to know what it feels like to be in our essence. Because when we are born, we take on the environment that we live in, and it's very easy for us to forget our true essence, and we get caught up absorbing the energetics in our home, in our family, in our society. So what helped me was to unplug myself from all of these false matrices and to take the necessary time to sit with myself, to truly understand myself, to study myself, so I can be firm in my truth, in my foundation of who I am. Because the moment that I began to develop this and I crumbled the old foundation, this is where my levels of discernment have grown. Because when I didn't know myself, when I didn't know my own energy, it was easy for me to be deceived because I didn't know what truth felt like. I had a lot of self-doubt. But as I got clear, as I got aware of myself, and as I got back in my body, that allowed me to learn discernment through experience. And when you know that you are able to discern false light, you can never be deceived. And you know that you can trust your discernment. You can trust yourself in making the choices that feel right for your soul, and that no one can take from you. That is priceless. I intend that you found value in this video and that it inspires you to take radical action, for you to awaken this desire to be your highest version and to know that you have the power to change, because you can choose. But first, we need to have that wake-up call from within. And when we have that call, you need to be ready to answer it.